fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. They hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them.
All right, good morning. It's live. It's 52 minutes after 10 o'clock. It's 52 minutes after 9 o'clock in Louisiana, Texas, those areas. If you are watching right there, good morning to all of you. And for those of you who are watching from Guyana, especially at Freedom House and at the office of the so-called president, hello to all of you. Somebody tag all of the naysayers. Somebody tag that guy with the ant's nest who believes he knows it all. Can somebody tag Anil? Can somebody tag those folks right now so that we can have a talk with them? Those who have been talking a bunch of trash, those who believe that they know this and they know that, and all manner of things. And very simple, as we are going to cut it down for you this morning. And the breaking news story is Melissa Atwell, also known as Melissa Holder, also known as Melly Mel, also known as Dig It to Them. Right? Good morning to all of you guys, every single one of you guys. Every single one of you guys. Good morning. Kindly share the link if you want. If you don't want to, we're not going to hammer you guys for that. Right? Because, you know, these days people looks as though they want to beat people up if you don't share their link. But Melissa Atwell is currently, she just appeared in court. She appeared in front of the judge. And interestingly, those who are watching, interestingly, you heard the bird nest, you heard all of them, you know, who are basically not qualified to talk about a lot of things. And that's the problem with Guyana, right? They are not qualified. They have no experience. And because of social media, they have access to maybe a camera, whatever. And that's all they have access to, camera, but no brains, no experience, no nothing. And they jump around the place, they masquerade around the place and every single thing. And guess what? Melissa Atwell, also known as Melly Mel, right? Oh, she is wanted for X, Y, and Z. She has been picked up because of X, Y, and Z, and she's going home, and she's this. Those are cathedralish kind of attitude. But you don't expect anything better from the likes of the propagandists, the cheap, the low-level, low-scale, mudslinging trench crapos of the PPP regime. You don't expect anything better from them, right? Absolutely. At least I don't, and so I don't lose much sleep over them. I was looking at what one of them, they were saying, what is it? Let's go to this one here. Melissa Atwell might be, she's this, and she will be that, and all manner of dotishness. Again, I repeat, all manner of dotishness. And then there is the likes of Anil Nandalal, who has said that a story, and when the congresswoman came out and she says, look, what is happening here? Well, the bumps raised, Anil Nandalal's bumps raised after Yvette Clarke, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, Melissa Atwell Holder lives in the district of this honorable congresswoman. And the congresswoman said basically that she condemns the detention, which is the right thing to do. You condemn the detention. There was no basis for such detention at all. And it's something that We have been saying for a while, what is the basis? If according to what we have heard, that she overstayed her time, she overstayed, and this was revealed in court. Moments ago, this was revealed in court, that all the notice of appearance had to do with Melissa Atwell overstaying her time. And now, okay, that is if you overstay your time in the United States of America, it simply means that, let's do a quick breakdown. If you come on a visitor's visa and they say that you have 1 month to stay and you overstay that time allotted to you, then it's an immigration infraction. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's no question about that. If you overstay if they give you 6 months, they're not saying that you got 6 months, that you got to spend that entire 6 months on a visitor's visa. Nobody goes on a vacation for 6 months and then go back to Guyana or wherever else and come back 1 month after or 2 months after and spend another 6 months. You guys be very careful with the length of time you spend in the U.S. on a visitor's visa. I just thought I'd just let you guys know that. Now, let's get back to Melissa Atwell's situation. Melissa Atwell, according to what was revealed in court, not court at Freedom House, not court at Office of the President, and not court in some of those bird nest and numbskulls' brains, their heads. The actual court where Melissa Atwell just moments ago appeared with her lawyer. Now, everybody was sitting and waiting to hear what the charges are or were brought against Melissa Atwell. Do you know the charge that they got her on? That they picked this woman up, grabbed her out of her home. The charge that they grabbed her on was overstaying her time by just about maybe 2 days. Oh, she overstayed her time in the United States of America, and so Homeland Security picked her up. ICE picked her up afterwards, and they shackled her and dumped her all the way in Louisiana in a horrible, horrible prison cell. Now, she will talk about that whenever she finds it necessary. And I hope she talks about that too. Now, lots of speculations. She did this, she did that, she did this, she did that, she did this. She's all manner of things. She did this, she did that, she did this. And so sitting in the courtroom, and I'm waiting to hear what Birdness, and all of them got to talk about. All of them, Birdness and all of them got to talk about. Waiting. Just like all of you. William Bill Cato, Aaliyah Waldron, Allison Beard, Charlene Dusur, Natasha, all of you guys, right, Tasha? Waiting to hear the good news. And that is why we are here now. But let me say this now. When the matter was called, it was called, and everybody that's sitting, who got kicked out, by the way, some people got kicked out. Enrico and others, they got kicked out of the courtroom. Enrico tried to argue why he should stay, and they just say, State Department said no. The judge said, okay, you guys got to go, remove. And I saw people remove, right? Enrico, good morning to you. And so when the judge called the case number 494, and they noticed to appear on what were the charges? Overstaying her time. Overstaying her time is indeed an immigration infraction. Now, don't get me wrong. Immigration infraction. So I'm sitting there waiting to hear what more? What more? You guys probably was waiting to hear what more as well. What more? And the so-called government of Guyana would make you believe that there's something wrong and major crimes and all manner of things, right? And their bumps raised when the congresswoman spoke out on the matter. Bordness, who probably dropped out of nursery school, doesn't have much sense. I don't know why people listen to those goats, right? They're dunces, dunstugs. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this, oh, that. They might as well just make a calypso with that. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, this, oh, that, right? Anyways, let's get back to so the case was iffy. It was on shaky grounds for the State Department. Shaky grounds. Why? Because even though, and this may apply to some of you who are watching, even though you overstayed your time in the United States of America, there are certain legal pathways to remedy that. One, if you are married to a U.S. citizen, of course, the marriage has to be bona fide. In the case of Melissa Atwell, known as Melissa Holder, there was no question about the authenticity of her marriage. She has an approved I-130. It's approved. She has a pending I-485. A pending I-485 is for adjustment of status. They took her fingerprints, are called biometrics, and the reason for the biometrics is to ensure that there's no criminal record, there's no criminal history. All of that. During that process, I'm sure she would have been issued with a temporary Social Security card and also work authorization through the pending I-485. Her I-485 has been pending for 2 years now. For me, questionable. Why 2 years now? So you picked her up, and let's welcome Tom Anderson. Morning, Tom.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. So you picked her up for overstaying. And the judge couldn't understand. The judge said, why is this person here? Why? The judge kept asking, why is this person here? Why is this person here? Does this person have a pending, an approved I-130? Yes. The judge asked the attorney, Tom, to provide that. Well, of course, I thought that maybe that should have already been provided to the judge, the approved I-130 and the pending 485. The judge should not have been asking for that. But that's okay. I think the lawyer did a great job. However, the State Department official, Ms. Cochran, actually did the right thing. That said, look, based on the check through the State Department, one, she agreed, the State Department agreed that yes, there is an approved I-130, and yes, there is a pending I-485, which is an adjustment of status application for your green card. Again, the judge asked, so why is this person here? Tom, I don't want to keep you waiting. Why is this person here? Why? Can somebody tell me
Attorney
why?
General, non-law. He knows why. He knows why. That's why when Congresswoman Clark came out on your show and supported Melly Mel, that he went berserk and had the state newspaper publish an article talking about, everyone needs to hear their side of things, the PPP side. Why is the PPP involved in this? Why? Why do they have a side in this? Right? That's the thing everyone was asking. Why are they involved? This is something to do in the United States. So clearly, like I said last night, they were working back doors. They were trying to pull off a fast one. And unfortunately for them, our people here in the United States, we're up on this stuff. Okay. Yeah, we might not know everything, and we might let some things slip through between the cracks. But something like this, when you've got Maduro, saber rattling next door, and you've got potential war in the region, you can't play political games like this. This is not the time for games. And these guys try to pull a fast one, and they got their hands caught in a cookie jar, and now they're embarrassed, and they should be.
Yep, their hands caught in the cookie jar. And because we understand why Anil was jumping and saying there's the other side. And you're correct. The only side we need to hear is the court side. And the court spoke this morning. The judge repeatedly asked, why is this person here? Why has this person been taken into custody? One, the immigration law uh, allows for someone who has overstayed their time and is married to a U.S. citizen to file for what is called an adjustment of status, and that overstay infraction is waived. Why has that not been applied in this case? Why is this person, Melissa Holder, is also known as Melissa Atwell or Melly Mel? Why is this person here? Now, the State Department lawyer admitted that Melissa Atwell, has an approved I-130. Again, Melissa Atwell has a pending I-485. There is no criminal history, and therefore, the State Department did not object to bail. The judge subsequently agreed that there's nothing, absolutely nothing preventing her from being released on bond, and set the bond for a total of $7,000. And Melissa Atwell is on her way, as soon as the bond is paid, is on her way back to New York. Tom, again, Anil Nandalal and the PPP had so much to say. That guy, that crazy guy doesn't know anything about immigration, doesn't know anything about law. I'm talking about that so-called critique or whatever his name is. The Dunstug knows nothing about these things, but yet try to create an impression as though Melissa Atwell committed all sort of crimes. I don't know. Back to you, Tom.
Well, it's not right either, because here's the Attorney General of an entire nation. And the day before she sees a judge, he's making sure in the state-run newspaper that, you know, his opinion is made international news before her hearing. And he's basically saying on behalf of the ruling party and the government itself, that, you know, they want her deported. Basically, they want her jailed. Like, he was basically, you know, saying, hey, she's guilty. We don't have the evidence, but we need the U.S. courts to do their thing and keep her locked up or deport her down here. And it's like, well, why would you do that a day before her hearing? Are you trying to influence the courts? See, that's the stuff. That's the type of stuff where they go too far. They're used to doing this stuff in Guyana. They're used to doing this stuff in a way where no one pays attention because it's a third world country and it's backwater politics and no one cares. Well, now that Guyana is on the front page of the world newspapers, that people actually care about what's going on, these guys are acting the same way they always have, and now they're getting caught big time. And I gotta say, non-law, that Attorney General, he really, really, really stepped out of line on this. He should not have been, the day before her hearing, he shouldn't have been talking about this. He shouldn't have had anything published in the state newspaper. And he did it while our Secretary of State was visiting the country. So clearly they were trying everything politically to put as much pressure on as possible on this situation to get her deported down there. Now, I don't know what they've got going on, but clearly their plan had something to do with taking down the Mohammeds and attaching her to it, and making it seem to us here in America that was their only corruption problem in the country. Now they can move forward as a fresh new Guyana, and no one, and it's all good now. I think that was their plan. Well, their plan's done because she's not going anywhere. Yeah, they're going to try to railroad the Mohammeds or whatever without going after everyone who's really involved in the corruption. That's what they're going to attempt. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to get much worse for these guys, because you shouldn't try to pull fast ones like this. Instead, you should be trying to change your system. You should be trying to go after the real criminals in your country. Imagine, he's an attorney general and he's got real criminals roaming the streets in Guyana right now. And he spent time going after an innocent woman here in the United States who did nothing wrong. It's just an abuse of office. It's an abuse of power. He should apologize immensely. This is wrong on so many levels, and they're going to try to sweep it under the rug and pretend nothing happened. But I'm telling you, this was a huge mistake, and it's going to hurt them going forward. It's going to hurt them going forward because it proves that they cannot be trusted. Even on something as little as this, they try to put the entire weight of the government on this, and they try to do it in order to play some kind of political game. And so clearly they're up to political games. They're not serious. They're not trying to change the corruption in the country. And that's what's going on. And that's what this proved. So that's where we are now. And I think these guys are exposed, and we'll see what happens next. But I got to tell you, this is a big deal. This is a big deal.
Tom, big deal indeed. And what's going through my mind as we speak here is there should be an investigation launched as to who ordered the arrest, the detention of Melly Mel. Knowing that the State Department ought to know this because they have admitted this in court moments ago, that Melissa Atwell has an approved I-130. Melissa Atwell, they admitted, has a pending I-485, which is an I-485 is an application for adjustment of status. It's a green card application. That application has been pending since 2023. She and her husband conducted an interview with an immigration officer. The application is still pending. There's no evidence of any fraud committed, any immigration fraud. All of that would have been revealed in court this morning. The State Department rep, counsel, admitted that there is nothing, absolutely nothing else. Nothing else. It didn't come from Anil Nandalal, who is trying to say that there's another side. It didn't come from that Dunstug Birdnest guy, Dunstug. It didn't come. It came directly from the court. And now the question is, Tom, and these are cases that adjustment of status and so forth that I do almost as frequently as possible. And you know that once you have an approved I-130 and you have a pending I-485, a court would listen to that, and the allegations of any infraction of overstaying the visa becomes a non-issue. In Melly Mel's case, it is a non-issue. The judge couldn't understand. The judge asked, wait a minute, this person has an approved I-130 who is married to a U.S. citizen? Really? And so why is this person here in my court? Does this person have a pending I-485? Really? Then why is this person in front of my court? And then the key question the judge asked is, was the I-485 filed after her detention? Her lawyer responded, no, Your Honor. It was filed almost 2 years ago. The judge said, really? So then why is this person in detention? Nobody knows why. And therefore, if nobody knows why, there ought to be an internal investigation, either through Homeland Security or through ICE. Why was Melissa Atwell arrested? Why was Melissa Atwell detained? And who passed that order for her detention? Tom.
Well, see, I don't believe there should be an investigation because everything turned out fine. Okay. And the people involved in our government who were told to do what they were doing, their victim is in this too. I continue to say that the problem here is down in Guyana. The problem is the PPP. I've said over and over again, I come at this from the American perspective. Okay. And I see how the corruption in Guyana affects us here in the United States. And one of the main ways it affects us is they have ways to bribe our officials. And our officials who get bribed order government workers to do things that are sometimes against the law. But those workers are victims of this because what are you supposed to do? Lose your job? You can't feed your family now, right? Because these guys down in Guyana have paid off government people in the United States and they're firing people who won't just blindly take orders. That's the problem here. And so at the end of the day, any type of investigation needs to happen. The investigation needs to happen on the PPP and on the people within the PPP, because these are the guys who are orchestrating the corruption that's being spread all over the place. They're corrupting people in Canada. They're corrupting people in the neighboring countries like Trinidad. They're corrupting everybody. Okay. And then they're doing, and they're corrupting them to do things that aren't that smart, like going after Melly Mel. Not a very good idea. Okay, not a good idea, right? And so these guys are clumsy about it, but they're the root of the cause, and they're the ones who need to be investigated and dealt with. That's why I come on the show as much as I do, because I know that they are the problem, right? And I think it has exposed them, and our government knows it too. So yes, there will be some kind of investigation. I don't think that it'll be the type that will get low-level government workers in trouble, but there will be an investigation to find out who it is on our end that's working with these guys in the PPP. Who's doing it? How is it being done?
And that's necessary because you don't need these sort of embarrassment. Because again, I maintain that the charge that they have against her should never have been in the first place. Mm-hmm. Even if she overstayed her time by 10 years and is married to a U.S. citizen, has a pending I-485, has an approved I-130, the law is very straight up about that. Your overstaying infraction is waived. Before, individuals used to have to pay what is called a $1,000 fine. They no longer have to pay that because she's married to a U.S. citizen. If in the case that she has a U.S. citizen child over the age of 21 and filed for her, then her infraction of overstaying would have also been waived, and there is no basis for her arrest. Absolutely none. And that is why the judge kept asking, why is she here? Why is she here? If she hasn't approved, and thankfully the State Department counsel provided that information, I thought maybe the lawyer would have been able to say, look, here is an approved I-130, here is a pending I-485, and her client had an interview last year or whenever, pending the final outcome. There is nothing. It has been pending since. And what's going to happen in this court is the judge has the authority to order, to instruct the immigration USCIS to approve her I-485 and issue her with her green card. That is what's going to be the outcome. This is an embarrassment for those who arrested her. It's an embarrassment for people like Anil. It's an embarrassment for Jack Dale. It's an embarrassment for that Dunstug and other Dunstugs. We've been hearing all sorts of things. Oh, credit card this and oh, this and oh, that. And all that came out in court today. And all of you who are listening, all that came out in court today is she overstayed her time. And let me just repeat for some of you who have overstayed your time. If you overstayed your time and you entered the country legally, meaning you came here on a visitor's visa or whatever, and you've decided that you want to get married to a U.S. citizen, it is perfectly fine. It is legal. There's nothing wrong about that. Millions of people have done that. And as long as you file that I-130, it is in the system, it is approved, and you file your 485 for your adjustment of status, it is a legal basis for you to show and to prove to immigration that you have legal standing, mind you, to stay in the U.S. And no court is going to rule against you on those grounds. It is perfectly legal to do that. And that is exactly what Melissa Atwell has done. And that is why the judge placed her on $7,000 bond. She's probably packing her plastic bags and hugging her fellow inmates and little tears and so forth, tears of joy to get the hell out of that filthy cell that they placed her in. Tom.
This is great, man. This is a great day. Okay. I'm excited. I'm happy because it proves that even under, our Trump administration, justice still exists. Okay. And so, you can view it as this is the most negative, most angry presidential, administration in the history of America when it comes to immigration. They really don't like immigrants. Period. End of story. Okay, everyone knows this. And even under such a strict, angry regime as the Trump guys go, Melly Mel was released. What does that tell you? That tells you that this was pure trumped up politics. This was crap. Okay, this was real crap. Because if they had anything even slightly negative real on her, this Trump administration would have been kicked her out into Georgetown. She would have been deported a long time ago, right? So this just proves our system still works, which I'm glad. I mean, I was wondering, does it work? I was wondering a little. I was worried. But with that said, it works. This is a great day. I'm happy. You know, there is an opening here, though, for the Mohammeds, okay? Clearly, this shows that the PPP are doing something with the Mohammeds that isn't totally straight up. Like I've said before, I think they're trying to scapegoat the Mohammeds. I'm not saying the Mohammeds are innocent guys. What I'm saying is that they didn't do this in a bubble, okay? The Mohammeds operated hand in glove with the PPP, with a bunch of different ministers, with a bunch of different government officials, okay? They did. We know this, okay? And so it's not enough for them to just railroad the Mohammeds and just pin everything on their little donkey and kick them down the street. No, they need to go further. They need to root out all the corruption. And this is an opportunity for the Mohammeds maybe to come forward and talk to American authorities, because obviously we are doing what is right in this situation. We are on the right path. This proves that, right? It proves that we are not down there trying to rig the game against the people of Guyana, that we will call a spade, and that when these guys in the PPP try to play political games, we're not going to play the game with them. So that proves this. So this leaves the door open for the Mohammeds to tell some truth here and to come forward and to expose what's really going on with the PPP, what's really happening in there, right? That's what they should do. That's what I would do if I were them, because this court case proves that the United States, even though we do back what's going on in Guyana, we're backing the nation of Guyana, not the PPP. That's what this proves. We're backing the nation as a whole, okay? So that's a big distinction. This proves that. So if I were them, I would try to work with the United States at this point and try to basically help the entire country out to expose what's really going on there in the PPP.
Well said. At 24 minutes after 11 o'clock, Tom Anderson. And if you're now joining us, Melissa Atwell is a free woman. She is on her way out of that filthy cell. I am sure that she has a lot to talk about. What is it, a little over 2 weeks or something in that detention center. The PPP guys were just smiling. They were laughing. They were very vindictive, wicked bunch of creatures in the PPP regime. And so they have a lot of those dun stugs as well. We know who those dun stugs are. And do not go in terms of skinning your teeth and smiling with these dun stugs. They are just what and who they are, dun stugs. Again, just to report to you that Melissa Atwell has been released on $7,000 bond. And I'm told that there is some media outlet that has her in her prison outfit. The court didn't rule for any media outlet to be in there. In fact, a lot of those media folks from Guyana were kicked out. The State Department won that piece of request. Yet we are hearing that photographs were taken or screenshots were taken. That is a violation of the court. And whoever is circulating that photograph with Melissa Atwell in her prison garment is in violation of the court ruling that media persons should not be there. It is an immigration matter, and those folks appeared in their prison garment, and the State Department argued against the presence of any media outlet. But to take a photograph, a shot of her and other prisoners, of course, because she wasn't sitting there by herself, is indeed a violation of the judge's ruling. So shame on whoever it is that is circulating any such photograph. Tom, anything
Yeah.
else before we go? Because we know
Yeah,
Anil and these guys are not happy. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
Desiree Simmons. She asked, what is there something that we can say about the judge of the case? Remember, a few nights ago, I mentioned that the judge they switched over to was a judge that had practiced immigration law in Texas for years before he became an immigration judge. And I said, you know what? Here's an expert judge here who is going to look at this, and if she's good, she's going to be set free. And I thought, I once I saw that judge got the case, I said, oh man, she's going to go, because this is an immigration thing. That's why that judge got the case. I'm sure it's random or whatever, but at the end of the day, that was the right judge for her. Great judge, great. Everything turned out very, very well. I'm very happy. Now the ball is in the court of the PPP. They have to decide what they want to do. Do they want to continue to go with the charade that all of the corruption in the country is all due to the Mohammeds and their friends? Or do they want to actually start changing things in the nation and start really getting to work and start cleaning house and start getting rid of the true corrupted elements within the government of Guyana, who are causing all of the mayhem and disaster that we see happening across the board? Are they ready to step up to the plate? It's that time. Look, their friends in China are angry over the deal they signed with us. They signed a deal with us to get further involved in going after this trafficking stuff and everything else. All of this is rooted in the corruption, okay, of the PPP. So look, they have some real obligations now. On top of that, their old friends are mad at them. So it's time. The rubber is meeting the road. It's time for them to actually make some hard choices, and let's see if they do it. Because if they do, that it will be a blessing to the nation of Guyana. It will be a blessing to everyone in the region if they can actually do what's right and go after the true corruption, right? If they can. That's a big if. But they're going to have to do something, because playing the charade game they just played with Melly Mel, it didn't work. It blew up in their face. So now they're back to the drawing board. What do? I hope they do what's right and they go after the corruption. We will see.
We will see, indeed. Again, if you're now joining us, Melissa Atwell, Melissa Holder, also known as Melly Mel, right? It's out. She's probably packing up her little black plastic bag or whatever it is, pack up and hit home, so to speak. Just pack up, Melly Mel. You have every right to enjoy this freedom after about 2 weeks. Of course, of all person, I should know about that, right? Tears of joy, and whether you agree with Melly Mel on issues or not, or you disagree with her, and I've said this on numerous occasions, I don't agree with everything or maybe her strategy, but the fact that she exposes the corrupt PPP regime, corruption and so forth, I've just got to agree with her. There are things that I say that a lot of you might not agree with. It's okay. It's fine. But it doesn't mean that you hate me, right? There are times that I disagree with Tom and I just smile, right? But in a democracy, we must all agree to learn to disagree, agree to disagree, and move on. It's democracy, right? And so Melly Mel didn't deserve this sort of treatment. Being picked up. There's no charge. There's nothing. There was no real ground to pick her up, to lock her up, and wanting to deport her back to Guyana in that filthy political place under the PPP regime. I don't know. Tom, is there anything else we can talk about before I notice you just keep smiling?
This is great, man. No, this is a huge
you just keep smiling, Tom.
Yeah,
and
man,
you have all reasons when Melly Mel comes out. Maybe we should all have that bang spear.
Well, look, man, this is going to mark this day down in the history of Guyana's history. Seriously, even though this happened in a U.S. court, this is a pivotal moment, okay? Because this forces the PPP to have to make a real decision now, okay? Do they continue with the charade, or do they actually get to the real work for the people and get at that corruption that they're drowning in their country right now? what do? This is the turning point. And so I will say this. I'm so glad that the opposition party held their protest there for her, for Melissa. Okay. That was great. It showed that they were standing for human rights above all else, even above politics. Okay. And the PPP even tried to turn that into some type of political game, making it seem like that the opposition was out protesting Trump.
Exactly.
Protesting Trump.
You know, Tom, not to cut you, and kudos to all who got involved in this, including the opposition. Kudos to all. Nobody was afraid to stand up and say this was an injustice against Melissa Atwell. And this is what, I'm glad that you brought that up again, Tom. This is what the corrupt PPP attempted to do, as though this protest at the Square of the Revolution, Coffee Square in Guyana, in solidarity with Melissa Atwell, calling for her release. The corrupt PPP regime actually put this out and said, well, look, opposition protest against Trump administration's immigration policy. This was not the purpose of the protest. Nobody mentioned Trump's name at that protest, as far as I'm aware. And all of the people mentioned, and they beat their drums and they call for the release of Melissa Atwell. That is what this protest or this gathering in solidarity was for. That is all. And so the PPP regime, Tom, they have tried every trickery in the book. They call all of their dunstugs out, these dunstugs. A dunstug so-called reporter, a dunstug liar, every single thing, soup drinkers, call them out. And it didn't work. Tom Anderson, it just didn't work. Now we've got to pick up our pieces and go from here, because this is a major embarrassment. They even tried it when Marco Rubio was there yesterday to make it appear as though Melissa Atwell is such a bad person and the U.S. got to send her back and all manner of things. It didn't work. How embarrassed should they be, Tom?
This is look, they created an international incident when you have the Attorney General of Guyana going after an elected official in Congresswoman Clark. Okay, that's an international incident. Okay, that's what they did on the day that our Secretary of State is visiting their country. All right, so that's a big deal. I don't know why they would spend so much political capital on doing such a on doing such a thing that was just so not smart. But that's what they did. Okay, and so they were pedal to the metal. They needed to get Melly Mel sent down to Guyana for some reason. Okay, that's that they were dead set on that. Okay, and they needed that to happen, and they tried everything, but none of it worked. And I'll say this, like I've said before, organizing on a local level always works. That protest that they did for Melly Mel, that was a part of her being free today. It was important that they had that they showed that, hey, people on the ground in Guyana are aware of what's happening and they are supporting someone who was being persecuted for no reason, for no rightful reason. She was being persecuted because she was practicing freedom of speech here in the United States, which by the way, our freedom of speech applies to all human beings. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen of America or not. If you are here in the United States and you're here living, even if you're here illegally, you have the right to freedom of speech. And if some other government tries to come after you for that, they cannot. They can't. And that's what this proves. So these guys are back to square one. They have to find some new trick to play. But I will say this to the opposition: pay attention to what you did. Look at how it worked. Okay, it doesn't seem like, oh, the protest wasn't millions of people or whatever. It's never going to be that. But I'm telling you, organizing and protesting peacefully, it really does work. So the next step I would say is the same energy you had for Melly Mel, for Melissa. Use that energy now towards the elections. Try to get some biometrics. Try to get things in place. Try to force the PPP to put some of this oil revenue into the system for voting, into the election system, so that no matter what the result is that comes up here, everyone can feel that it's satisfactory and that it was fair. That's what's imperative right now. That's what's important. So if I'm the opposition, that's my total focus right now, is trying to protest, trying to organize on every level to force the PPP to do what's right by the people for these elections and put the money in and the infrastructure in to ensure that whatever results happen, everyone around the world, including everyone in Guyana, can be confident that those were legitimate votes that were counted and it was a legitimate election. That to me is the key going forward. That's what they need to do.
Indeed. Again, I have noticed that there is the and we see the Dunstugs are out again, and they are pushing the government's media outlet. They are pushing a photograph of Melly Mel appearing in court with her prison uniform. That is a violation of the judge's order this morning in court, that no media house should be there, and the government media houses are pushing a photograph with Melissa Atwell in her prison garment. This should be reported, and I will undertake to report this back to the court, back to the judge, and so that sanctions can be against the media houses in Guyana newsroom. And I've noticed another political dunstug, Ruel Johnson, is the usual bat down opinions on matter, is saying that according to both PNC and AFC, her arrest was as a result of Guyana government. He needs to shut up, because this guy is obviously and clearly a political dunstug. He needs to just probably write a little mini culture stuff and stay out of politics. He doesn't understand. It is quite obvious that the PPP, through some low-level individual, maybe through the State Department, found their way favorable with that individual to arrest Melissa Atwell. This has nothing to do with an immigration infraction that caused her arrest. Absolutely nothing. It was used for that purpose. It was used for that purpose. So for these dunstugs who continue to say that the PPP didn't orchestrate this, they are just who they are, dunstugs. And I will report this to the judge. The judge said that no reporter, no media house should be there. But yet, Tom, the government media houses, they are the ones that are pushing a photograph of Melissa Atwell sitting there with other prisoners, with other individuals who have applied for asylum from other countries, Vietnam and other places. It is downright wrong, sir. And we see the vindictiveness on the part of the dunstugs, the political dunstugs like a Batdung Ruel Johnson and these guys, and a Dunstug lawyer like James Bond and these guys. Well, we could understand the Dunstug bird nest guy. But again, Tom, I don't know how you're feeling, but let's get your take again, sir.
Yeah, these guys, they're going to try to somehow, some way create a narrative that allows them to walk away from this as if they did, like as if nothing happened, right? And if anything happened, look, she's in her prison jumpsuit, right? That's what they're going to try. But just everyone needs to remember, when Congresswoman Clark called this out and said, hey, you know what? Melissa Atwell, she's in danger. If she is deported to the nation of Guyana, her life, her health and safety, her physical safety is at risk because they don't respect human rights down there. When she said that, what happened? Anil Nandalal comes out and he said he gets all angry. Okay, he's the one who got hit with the rock. Okay, Congresswoman Clark tossed a stone into that group of dogs, and the one that started yelping the loudest, Anil Nandalal, clearly was the guy who had a big hand in all of this. That's why he was talking so hard. That's why he had that article run in the state-run newspaper. Okay. His hands are all over this, period. And people should take notice of that. Okay, everyone should take notice of that, because an attorney general in a country that's full of corruption like Guyana, where you've got all kinds of smuggling, you've got murdering, you've got all kinds of things happening there, for that attorney general to spend his time to go after a United States House of Representatives member in Congresswoman Clark, who's a member of leadership in our House of Representatives, and to go after her because he's mad that another black woman, Melissa Atwell, was having her day in court fairly, because he didn't like that. What he wanted was just get that black woman in New York and send her down here. Okay, that's what we're going to deal with her, right? That's thug. That's that thug stuff. That's what he was wanting. That's what he was desiring. But it doesn't work that way. And so yeah, he got mad when Congresswoman Clark stepped up to the plate and did her job in speaking up for someone who was facing serious harm to her person and to her life if she had been deported down to Guyana. Great job, Congresswoman Clark. Great job. Okay, great job. This was a team effort thing. Many people stepped up to the plate, and it shows and it proves that the PPP are not going to be able to easily manipulate the system over here in the United States. No matter how many government officials they've paid off, no matter how many lobbying firms they've hired to play all kinds of dirty tricks, none of it's going to matter, clearly, because our system, even under Donald J. Trump, is working the way it should. It's working. So these guys are in a precarious spot. My advice to them is hey, non-law, pay attention to the crime and the corruption happening in your country. There are members of the PPP right now that you have breakfast with, lunch with, dinner with, that you laugh with, you spend time with, that are very corrupt. And they're doing things to the people of Guyana that should not be happening. Spend time investigating those guys. Spend time getting mad at the smugglers, at the human smugglers, at the people that are smuggling weapons into your country. Go after those guys. Stop going after innocent black women in the United States. It's a waste of your time. It's an embarrassment. I think we've proven that now. Okay, so do your job. Focus on the real crooks. Melissa Atwell is not one of them, and thank God our system worked for her, and that she didn't get sent down for those animals to hurt her. I thank God. So yes, very happy day, very good day for justice, very good day for good people. You're on mute, Mark.
Sorry, I'm just so excited. I'm looking at the Banks Beer photograph here, Tom. Sorry about that. I got carried away to celebrate their release. This is a good thing. This is a good thing for Guyana. This is a good thing for Melissa Atwell. This is a good thing for democracy. This is a good thing all across. And the PPP is definitely embarrassed. What we are seeing, Tom, is the PPP propagandists, the low-level hacks. They got into the court system, Tom, and they are showing photographs of individuals who appeared in this court. Screenshots of this here. And all of them are PPP propagandists. These are things that ought to be revealed to the court. These are things that ought to be revealed to the judge. And it confirms what all of us have been saying all along, that if Melissa Atwell is sent back to Guyana, which is not going to be the case at all, mind you, is that her life is in danger. We see how these vindictive creatures operate, whether it's a Johnson, whether it's a Bond, whether it is some low-level individual or individuals. We see it, the vindictiveness. And there's a photograph that's circulating with Melissa Atwell and other prisoners. It is a violation of the court order. It is a violation of immigration court order. and it is not justified. And those of you who are seeing these photographs with Melissa Atwell in her prison garment, go under those low-level individuals' pages and take them to task, guys. Take them to task. All right, Wayne Caesar, the news now that Melissa Atwell is freed. I know busy schedule that you have today in your office, but what's happening? Your take, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Mark. A pleasant good morning to you, Tom, and good morning to the listening audience. Look, Mark, today's a great day. Today it's a great day. I'm very, very happy for Melissa, and I'm also happy for the Guyanese people. The people who should not be happy at this time should be the PPPC government, because they have failed miserably here. Melissa is going to be out. She's going to be back with her people. Look, a lot of the people from the side of the PPP, they were laughing. They were very excited. They thought that she would have been deported back to Guyana. They were ready for that. Although, Mark, I must say, if it had happened that Melissa was deported back to Guyana, it wouldn't have been easy as the PPP think it would have been, because the Guyanese people, their ear is to the ground. And they are at this time ready for anything. But look, we get the better of the results was what we were looking for. I am very, very happy. I know Melissa will have a lot to say to her people when she does get the opportunity to speak, and to the individuals who would have hacked into the court system and take out pictures of Melissa in her detention uniform and these type of things. Hey, guys, that's feather in our cap, She's a true freedom fighter, and freedom fighters always, from time to time, get into a situation where they're held in detention or where they are in lockups. Mark, and you should know this very well, because you've visited the lockups in Guyana many times in your freedom fighting days, and you're still doing it, but you're just
so
not undergoing in Guyana as much. So
yeah,
listen, again, feather in the cap for Melissa Atwell.
Yeah. So congratulations again. Wayne Caesar is speaking out. We were waiting to be joined by Bonita Montague, but she, for some reason, technical glitches on her side. Tom, again, I'm reading some of the comments from people. People are just excited about it, and I agree with Wayne Caesar. I agree with Wayne Caesar there that don't bother with the corrupt PPP regime and their goons. Not to bother with them, because again, I agree with Wayne that Melissa Atwell appearing in her prison garment is a badge of honor, and she should make some T-shirts with those sort of things, a badge of honor to wear those. So don't allow the PPP to play as though they can embarrass anybody. It's not an embarrassment. So you guys, whenever you see one of those PPP thugs post those sort of things, go under their page, and this is where activism will increase tenfold. Go under their pages and challenge those PPP thugs. Tom, as we prepare to probably go for now, unless we're joined by Ms. Bonita Montague and one other person who was invited to join us here. What else is going through your mind as PPP thugs have violated the court order for no photographs or anything to be taken and circulated?
Yeah, they can't help themselves. Hey, Wayne Caesar, how's it going, man? Mr. Caesar, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Yeah, so they can't help themselves, man. This is desperation time for these guys, for sure. And it's desperation because they just refuse to deal with the corruption that's sitting right there in their laps. Okay, like it's right there. They need to deal with it. There's no getting around it. They cannot operate on the world stage as high as they are right now with the type of corruption that they have going on. They cannot. You can't have both. You have to choose. You have to either choose living a good life in a modern world free of the type of rampant corruption that they have going on right now, or you just go with the corruption and you end up being a backwater nation, a dictatorship where everyone's suffering. It's one or the other. You cannot have that type of corruption and have a thriving, working society. And so if anyone listening in Guyana right now is wondering, why are things not going as well as we think they should be going, it's because of the corruption. It's that simple. And so that's the one thing these guys don't want to tackle. It's the one thing they don't want to pay attention to. But I'm telling you, this situation proves that their corruption is so petulant, it's so petty, right? That they actually have an attorney general going after an innocent woman in New York City who's doing nothing but telling the truth about the corruption that's happening down there. They spend their time and resources going after her. Now they're having people take illegal photographs from inside the court, spreading around as if she's a criminal, as if she did something wrong when she didn't do anything wrong. This is what they're spending their time and resources on because they don't want to spend their time and resources on actually cleaning up the real corruption in the country. And that's just not going to fly, man. And so, look, the opposition needs to get their stuff together. They need to realize, hey, this is an opening. This is proof. This is proof that the PPP do not have the grasp on things that they claim that they have. Okay, these guys were bragging for weeks here, saying they had some kind of special relationship with the American government and all of this and all of that. They don't. Okay, they don't. They're trying to put on a facade as if they have some type of special thing going with us. They do not. Okay, they're like everyone else, and we are watching them closely, and we are paying attention all the way to the point where we're ensuring that people like Melissa Atwell do not get persecuted by these guys. Okay, that's how much we're paying attention. So we're paying attention. We're on board. We just sent our Secretary of State Marco Rubio to visit. Okay, we are serious on our end. Okay, we are trying to make this work. It's only going to work if the PPP gets serious about the corruption and they stop going after people like Melly Mel and they go after the real criminals sitting right there in their country that they're sipping beers with every night. That's who they need to go after, because that's the only way this relationship is going to work. And this relationship has to work because of the region, how it's developing and how things are moving forward. All of our children and grandchildren need a viable, working, thriving Guyana. That's what we all need in this region. We all need it. And so the people standing in the way of that right now are the PPP and their corruption. It's time for them to take a lesson from this. Learn your lesson, okay? This is a good warning shot. Stop playing the games. Let's get serious. We'll see what they do.
Stop playing the game. Let's get serious. We'll see what they do. We see another waiting for Bonita Montague so we can have a female voice here. We notice Nature Boy has something to say, but we're not getting any proper, and he has been fighting for her release as well. He took his gloves off. He's been fighting, but we're not sure what happened to his internet. Are you there with us, please, sir? We're just not getting him. It happens at times, technical glitches, not on our side. And so, Wayne, go ahead, sir. Anything else you'd like to add on this Melissa Atwell situation? I'm sure, based on what you've heard, that the only charge brought against her is that she has overstayed. During that time in court, the judge kept asking, is that all this person is here for? Is that all? What has she done? What has she done? There's a pending I-485, which is an adjustment of status application. There's an approved I-130 petition. She is married to a U.S. citizen. What is the crime? Tell me. What? Yeah, somebody's echoing there, please. Yeah, what is the crime that this woman has committed? They couldn't find anything at all. The State Department official considered, said, look, there's really nothing. She has no criminal history. She has an approved I-130. She has a pending I-485. But before we get back to you, Mr. Caesar, let's hear from Nature Boy, also known as, he has a bunch of different names, but Hector Stout Jr. Hector, you're skinning your teeth. What's going on?
Good day, sir. How you doing?
Good, thank you. I can see that you're happy, and rightfully so.
Well, I thank God that we live in the United States of America, which is a country of rules and laws. And once we follow the laws and we wait on due process, everything works itself out. From day one, I told everyone that this was what was going to happen. So I am not surprised. I'm happy, but not surprised. Um, this is a lot of immigrants go through this process every day. Okay, if you look at the picture of her in the courtroom, you can see there are a lot of women that were in there with her that were going through the same issue. A lot of people go through this, but thank God for the Constitution of the United States of America and the rule of law of the United States of America. These things work themselves out.
Absolutely. But I'll get back to you shortly on a particular matter because you have served this country well. You have protected this country, and so that Tom can get a slight background of you. But Wayne, what else do you pick up on what's going on? The judge kept saying that this woman, Melissa Atwell, why is she there? Why was she picked up? Your take on that, sir?
Well, listen, Mark, they couldn't tie her to anything else. Okay, there was nothing else there. And what does that show you? It shows you that it was a feeble attempt by the PPP to shut up a voice of dissent. Okay, they have failed. It's today is a, like I said before, today is a very, very good day because this government has failed the Guyanese people. They've continued to fail the Guyanese people. And I was kind of, chiming in on Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Guyana. And I noticed he said something, but lives to the Guyanese people can be better in 5 to 10 years under the leadership of this government. I believe that, he was not given the proper information when it comes to this government with regards to that. But with regards to Guyana, from a general perspective, he spoke very, very nicely. I thought it was a very, very good. This needs to be educated a little more on the jostling that is going on the ground in Guyana between the parties and the fact that the PPPC has been a party that has been disenfranchising the Guyanese people in many, many ways and forms. I'm sure he's not knowledgeable of all the extrajudicial killings amongst other things that has happened under the PPPC government. And it's sad to know, and I don't know if they did question Melissa on anything else with regards to Guyana. It doesn't seem as if they have done. But many times that she's had her life, she's always tagged in the State Departments along with other U.S. agencies. And plus, Tom is doing a lot of background work and a lot of research on Guyana, and he has his programs, he has his blogs. So I'm hoping that, on the ground in the USA, these leaders are being edified as to what is actually happening on the ground in Guyana, and we can see some real change. I feel in 5 to 10 years, the lives of the Guyanese people can look much, much different, under a coalition government. That's my take.
Okay, as we get back into specifically about the Melly Mel situation, and for those of you, Melly Mel is freed. She should hit the road shortly, and she should be back in New York where she belongs with her loved ones. Tom, just one quick second as we head back to Hector Stout, who seems to be driving maybe from Louisiana. God in heaven knows where he's driving from. His mic is muted. So some people, I have seen some people try to curse you out, and the PvP people. Can you tell them, and so that Tom, if he hasn't already checked you out, how many times have you gone to war to protect the United States? And tell us, Afghanistan, where at? Talk to us.
I have 9 deployments. I've been from Kuwait to Somalia to Bosnia to Iraq to Afghanistan, back to Iraq, then to Afghanistan. So I've been like a homeless person, just going in different people's country.
Fighting for democracy, fighting to protect, so that those vagabonds, some of them in the PvP, can have a safe place to live in the United States of America.
Exactly. This same country that they kill up themselves to come to and to live a good life is people like me that have made the sacrifice. And I hold no regrets to that. It just brings tears to my eyes when I see sometimes some people take advantage of these freedoms that they have gotten, and they abuse them, and they use the same freedoms to try to take away the freedoms of their fellow citizens right here in the United States of America. That brings a tear to my eye.
Absolutely, and thank you for your service. And you should let those vagabonds know that you put your life on the line to protect their freedom and their freedom of speech right here in the U.S. We have a lone female voice here, Tom. Again, let's go. Miss Montague, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm there with you, Mark, and the other panelists. A very good day to you, the listening audience, and our fellow Guyanese
Yeah,
Americans.
we wish we were able to see you, but that's okay.
Are you not seeing me? My
What?
camera is open. Let's see.
No, that's okay. What's happening? Oh, there we
she
go.
is. There we go. Hey.
Okay, hey guys.
Yeah. Your take, I'm not sure if you got to listen to what the judge says. The judge kept asking, why is this woman here today? Why? What crime has she committed? She has an approved I-130. She has a pending 485. Is there anything else? And nobody could say anything else other than, oh, she has overstayed her time. What is your take, please, Miss Montague?
I think the Attorney General should answer the public, and I'm sorry that he was not there to answer why, because it appears as though there is a different side of the story that he wants to present that is outside of the legal framework of the laws of the United States of America. I am very pleased that she was able to get the release, but I, of course, would have liked for the case to be dismissed. There is nothing against this woman. This woman is not a criminal, and there is no facts that has been presented to the court based on our knowledge that indicates that she is a terrorist, a risk, and she should not have been held without for so long. In addition to that, I am very angry that these so-called news outlets that are springing up around the Guyanese community for their unprofessionalism and blatant disregard for the woman's rights and other women's rights, because that's a courtroom with several other persons awaiting hearing. And I can see images being shared publicly displaying those faces. We don't know the circumstances of all the other persons who were in the courtroom, and that has been displayed. And so, Mark, today it's a day that we should be wild up. We should be grateful for today's outcome, but let us not be complacent and comfortable, because this is not a victory for us. We need to ensure that this never happens again, and then I can consider that as a victory or something satisfactory that we've been able to achieve as a people.
Well said.
Mark,
One second, please, Mr. Stout. Tom, do you wish to add anything else?
Well, I try to look for some opportunities, right? And there's an opportunity for the opposition now. If I'm the opposition, I'm holding another rally tonight celebrating Melly Mel being set free, but also thanking the Trump administration. Okay, they should do that. They should set the record straight that, hey, the domestic politics of Guyana have nothing to do with the United States. And when the United States does something correct, like we're doing right now, guess what? The opposition will celebrate it, and the opposition will thank our government for such a thing. And that would be a good idea, I think, especially considering that the PPP tried to paint them as anti-Trump. They're not pro or anti anything when it comes to the United States. They are pro Guyana, right? As a political party, they're all about their own country. Why the PPP try to make this an international incident, try to make them seem like they were anti-Trump when they were just supporting one of their own citizens? Not right. Okay. One of their own constituents. Not right. So I think this is an opportunity to make a statement internationally to say, hey, we are happy that she's been let out. But on top of that, we want to thank the U.S. government for doing the right thing. Yes, the case shouldn't even be in court. Yeah, it should be totally dismissed. I agree. for sure. But with that said, we still have to be able to use this to move forward. And I think the best way to move forward on this is they should have another rally. It should be a celebration, and they should be thanking. I think the opposition should put out a press release and should thank the U.S. government for this, because this was something that, was flying under the radar, and we could have easily been duped by the PPP and done the wrong thing here, and we didn't. And so when the right thing is done, I think people should pay attention. I think people should know, and I think the opposition should highlight that, in my opinion.
Well said, Tom. Let's try to
If
go
I
back
may,
to
to the host.
1 second. Let's go back to Hector Stout. Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to be very blatant here, because you know me, you know how I am. I don't bite my tongue. So let me be blatant as possible here. This witch hunt was started by the government of Guyana over a year ago. And Nandalal made it very clear that they were seeking to have Melissa Atwell and Rickford Burke sent to Guyana to face cyberbullying and extortion charges. So if you hear them saying right now they don't know what's going on, they are liars. What happened is Melissa had an open case in front in the immigration process, filing like any married couple would file to get a change of status. What they did was they went looking, because they were pressured by the government of Guyana as part of a quid pro quo to, you do this for me and I will do this for you. They went looking for something against Melissa. Like the judge told you said today, what do you have this lady here for? They went after the woman because the woman got married 5 days after she was supposed to leave the country. That was the only thing they could use to hold that woman. That was it. And you know how many people do this every day in America and they don't get locked up? That was because the government of Guyana has been putting pressure on them to return her and Rickford Burke. This is not, I am not making this up. This is not a Nancy story. This is the absolute truth.
Yeah.
They couldn't find anything else, so they tried to use this minor loophole they were trying to use to get the girl out of the country. But thank God for the Constitution and the due process of law of the United States of America.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you so much. The Constitution of the United States of America. I was pleased in the court today that what I witnessed is that the Council for State Department admitted that there's no other crime, and admitted also, which was very helpful in the case that Melissa Atwell has a pending I-485 application. She has an approved I-130, and she and her husband did an interview pending the final outcome on this here. The State Department admitted to that. They've also admitted that she has committed no crime. There's no criminal record. Yeah, we just muted your mic there, please, Nature Boy, and so forth and so on. So that is what came out of the courtroom. And what came out of the courtroom is what we have to go by. Not the PPP propaganda. But what is going to be dealt with is the fact that they have the judge's photograph on his bench. They have Melissa Atwell's photograph circulating, even after the State Department made a request that all reporters be removed from the hearing, that this is an immigration hearing and it should not be subjected to what we are seeing done by the PPP and their goons right now. You were about to say something, Miss Montague, before Hector Stout, and then after that we'll get into all closing remarks, please. Go ahead, Miss Montague.
Thanks, Mark. One of the things I really want to say is special thanks to all those who have supported, came out and spoke, have written, those that have been protesting. Your support means a whole lot. I know Melissa may not be able to thank everybody individually, but from a grateful activist, we are saying thank you for all that you have done, whether it's to respond to some one on Facebook or any other of the apps. So thank you, and the case is not over. So we'll need your continuous support, and we want to let you know that your involvement means a lot to all of us who are advocating for justice and the rights of those vulnerable persons and persons in similar situation like Melissa. So I wanted to convey that gratitude, expression of
Thank you.
gratitude.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bonita Montague. Appreciate your time, even at this last moment. We'll take closing remarks on Melissa's freedom by, let's see who, Wayne Caesar, sir.
Yep, sure, Mark. And, Miss Montague, Tom, yourself, Hector, just thanks to you guys. You guys have been on it. I believe that the PPPC government have shot themselves in the foot here. This would only further strengthen Melissa Atwell's advocacy, her activism, okay, and overall, all the voices of dissent. So what they have done here, I believe they have given themselves more problems rather than relieving themselves of a problem which they would have deemed Melly Mel to be, as she has been a thorn in their side, particularly the Attorney General. From time to time, the two of them have had many exchanges. Okay, and I know Anil Nandalali has a very big ego. And I believe that, Melly Mel was winning in those exchanges and he didn't like that. So therefore, what they attempted to do, obviously, is to stretch the hands of the laws. But as Hector would have so, nicely said, thanks to the American way of law, there's checks and balances in the United States. It's not like Guyana. You just can't do something to someone, Melly Mel did nothing outside the ambits of the law. So therefore, the decision made today was the right decision.
Well said. Well said, Mr. Wayne Caesar. Appreciate that. Appreciate your time as well. We'll go to Nature Boy, who's also known as Hector Stout Jr., for your closing remarks, please, sir.
Mark, I want to direct my closing remarks to the Guyanese critic.
One second. Whilst we believe in democracy, we do not make an individual like him a subject on our program. I think one second, Hector. I think we give that little nitpick too much. No, Hector. Deal with him on your life.
Let me grab my words carefully.
Sure.
There's a narrative out there that Melissa was arrested for breaking criminal laws in the United States, okay, for committing criminal acts. I hope today, what happened today, what transpired today, puts a rest to that. I hope that can go to bed now and have a nice sleep, because she has not broken any criminal laws. She has not done anything wrong. That narrative out there, they need to stop it now. Okay?
And I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. They have failed. They are called dumb stubs. They have no experience. They don't know about these things. They didn't even attend nursery school. Why waste time with those people? We have better things, Nature Boy.
And also I want to acknowledge, I know some the young lady that just spoke would have said some of the people that were involved in this process. I want to acknowledge some of the people that stood by Melissa's side, like Miss Odessa Primus, like Miss Dawn Campbell. Condolences to her and her losing her mother. Dawn kept me updated about Melissa every day. And most of all, I want to thank Mr. Mark Benchcop and also Mr. Terrence Campbell. Terrence Campbell played a vital part in this along with Mr. Mark Benchcop. And these are the kind of people that need to be recognized. Thank you much for your time.
And thank you for your service for fighting for America. Thank you for your service. I appreciate it. I know you will be going on your live and go on with your repetition. Thank you so much, Nature Boy. Appreciate it. We'll give Mr. Tom Anderson his opportunity for his closing remarks. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm always looking for the next opportunity. I'm always looking to see, where do you go from here? And to me, where you go from here is you definitely get another grouping together in Guyana and you celebrate this. You have it's not you don't have a protest this time, right? You just have a nice party. All right, everyone should have a nice party either today or tomorrow on this. People should celebrate. They should be happy because this is a very, very good day. But also keep your mind and keep your eyes focused on what's important. And what's important here is that there is a new relationship between the United States government and the government of Guyana. Okay, it was signed yesterday with our Secretary of State. We are now basically sharing a lot of different intelligence when it comes to smuggling of gold, when it comes to drugs, when it comes to weapons, when it comes to human trafficking. We are getting way more involved. Our military is more involved. So this is a big step up in the relationship between our two countries. China is upset about it. They are very angry about it. And so the road ahead is going to be a very difficult road ahead. This is a good time to celebrate and a good time to be happy, but we have to all keep our minds and our eyes focused on what's happening right in front of us, not too short away. And it's really hard because the Chinese are not going to want a good relationship between the United States and Guyana. They don't want that. On top of that, you've got the PPP, who they want the relationship and they want the protection and they want the money that comes from it. But what they don't want to have to do is get rid of the corruption that enriches their pockets, right? They don't want to do that. They want to have their cake and eat it too. That is not possible. You can't have both. And so it's really up to the opposition and the people of Guyana to step up to the plate and realize that, hey, in this new relationship with America, we are doing our part. And we've shown with this specific case here that we're not going to play the game with the PPP and just persecute innocent people. We're not going to do that. Okay. We are going to stand for what's right, regardless of who's in office. Even with Trump, who's so Mr. Anti-immigrant, even with Trump in place, we are going by the rule of law. That's what we're going to practice. And we're not going to go after people just because the PPP said so. Now, with that said, people should realize what happened to Melissa Atwell, what culminated this last part with her in court and being arrested. That was the end of a long period of harassment from the PPP. Trust me when I tell you, this didn't come up out of nowhere. They have been harassing her and others who they do not like politically for a very long time. Okay, it's no joke. They put a lot of resources and money. They put a lot of manpower in harassing people abroad who they do not like. It's a very bad thing. That's why the people of Guyana must realize that, hey, even though Melissa Atwell is outside of Guyana, she is suffering a lot, okay, a lot, and has been suffering a lot from attacks from within Guyana from the PPP. I promise you it has been happening to her. It has happened to many, many people they do not like. So the road ahead is not an easy one, but the opposition needs to realize that this was a good thing. They need to get that out there in the streets tonight or tomorrow and celebrate this and to show the PPP that, hey, getting together as a team, going out and protesting, it actually works. Okay, it works big time. And the PPP need to realize that and need to change their ways. So this is a great opportunity. I hope that everyone can take advantage of this to move Guyana in a better direction. And I also hope that this proves that from the American side, we are showing that we are approaching this relationship in an honest way, in a way that follows the law, and that we're trying to see a Guyana that is fair and equitable to everyone, and that is a shining light in the region. That's what we're looking for. I believe that from what I've seen here, and I hope that everyone in Guyana can take advantage of this, especially the opposition, and put the pressure needed on the PPP to get rid of the corruption that they're mired in.
Well said. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, there should be that approach in terms of protest. As John Lewis said, the late congressman, good trouble. It's time for good trouble, peaceful trouble. It can happen, not kind of like the thuggery when we saw the PPP tug bunches out there on the quarantine or wherever, because they know that they are going to be voted out of office. Ms. Bonita Montague, thank you so much. Continue the good work. Mr. Wayne Caesar, I know you're on tomorrow with your over to you, and you will continue with this matter. Mr. Tom Anderson, as always, thank you so mumuch for your time. Even at the last moment, you're here to fight for all of the Gabonese people. You're here to fight for democracy, to fight for justice, and to fight for what is right. And that's the side you're on. That's a good side that you are on. And let me just say, there are lots of people who have played a part in this here. A lot of you there with your comments, and a lot of other people with their live shows. Too many names to be mentioned. And I'm sure that once Melissa Atwell gets that opportunity to do her program or to be interviewed, she will have a list of individuals that she would like to thank, including her family members as well. But for now, we just want to say thank you to all of you who have played a role in this. And to hell with those vindictive people in the PPP. Who has the laugh now, right? All right. Thank you guys so much. Wayne, Bonita, and Thomas, so, Hector Stout Jr. Thank you guys so much.
Good day.
And again, just a reminder, Melissa Atwell, also known as Melly Mel, probably has already hit the streets or is in preparation for that. And for those of you who have seen a photograph circulating with her and others at that correctional facility, it's a shame and disgrace. But it only goes to show you how the PPP operates. They don't have thinkers around, just a bunch of dunce thugs. And for those of you who have the tendency to expose your strategies, time to just operate behind the scenes and be quiet. Do not telegraph your shots to the corrupt dunce thugs of the PPP. Do not telegraph your shots. But what I can say is that I do know that the dunce thugs in the PPP have violated the judge ruling this morning. And I'm sure that we'll get to the bottom of that and let them see what operatives of the corrupt PPP regime has done. We will do that. God bless you. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll see you guys later on this evening, right here on 107.1 FM. So long.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public face. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too, cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up.
You better run, Zanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come.
Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come.
Sanko chase the lover pon the dam and the gal a holla murder. Sanko chase the lover pon the dam and the gal a holla murder.
Police are come and the gal a holla murder. Police are come and the gal